I built this giant wall in Minecraft and now I want to turn it into a giant garden full of giant flowers, gardening tools, and critters. I just said giant 3 times in a row. I already started my garden by building giant tulips on one side of the walls. I said giant again, oh my gosh. And today I basically want to grow the entire garden. I hope somebody sells good fertilizer because we're gonna need so many giant plants. Holly, do you have good fertilizer? You know what I mean, right? I mean nothing. And I think the first step is gonna be planning out this garden. I definitely want to add another tulip field, maybe on this side over here, because I want to build all the tulips we have in Minecraft. So we have pink and white already, and then there's still red and orange. So that could go over here. I definitely need to bring signs. I'm so unprepared. Let's just randomly make a whole bunch of spruce signs. Okay, I don't think we need like 20 signs. Okay, so over here we're gonna have tulip field 2. I will know what that means. And then over here we could have an overgrown entrance. You know, lots of like big grass and leafy stuff. Then over here we have random small animals in this giant garden. They're gonna have to go. I'm very, very sorry. I'm not killing the horse, I'm kidding. I'm not Joel. Oh my gosh, I just roasted one of my favorite YouTubers. Please don't tell him. I have brought a lead. Come with me, little horse. We're getting you out of here whether you want it or not. Bad horse. I don't think it can fit through this. Come on, you're free. No, you're not. You're stuck. Yay! Freedom! You're free. Now stay there and don't ever come back into my garden. And yes, I also rescued the sheep that was in there. I mean, I cannot be riding a sheep around and then killing the other ones, even though I totally do that for food. Awkward! And I also wrote down some other ideas on signs. And basically there are signs everywhere around this area for different points of interest and cute little flower stuff. And you know what that means? We're gonna need more terracotta. No! I hate that we need more terracotta, but also it's gonna look so good. And this is all the terracotta I have left in the world. We still have some green terracotta and some lime green. But let's be real, we're gonna maybe build like 2 or 3 flowers with all of that, and then we're gonna run out. So we need more. So back to my storage we go to see if we have any more terracotta. And maybe steal from my neighbors. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Ooh, I've got mail. A joke book. I like jokes. Where does Molly go to shear her sheep? The Baba shop. I didn't laugh, but I like smiled at that. It's a preview joke brought to you by Tan. That's kind of sus. We should definitely subscribe to that. Now let's see how much terracotta we still have. Okay, we have red sand. That's good for all the orange tulips I want to build. Worst day ever. We don't have any terracotta. But this could be the best day ever because like I made this cactus farm and since then I've just like left and built on my single player world. Don't judge me, I like my single player world. But other people loaded this chunk, so maybe we get like a whole chest full, please, 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 please. Meh, my cactus farm is so bad. But hey, we have so many stacks of cactus and we can turn all of that into dye. So now we just need to get the terracotta and then we can dye it green and then we can build flowers and then I can be happy in my giant garden and feel really tiny. And I need to be in the area for all of this to smelt so I can't just run off in the resource world and get terracotta. But I just had an idea for what we could do in the meantime because we have this mail system and the post office is right over there. So we just have to pay some money and Martin delivers all the mail. And I was thinking to deliver some wholesome mail. Like every episode I pick someone and just send them something nice and just like write them a lovely letter. So let's go ahead and pick someone for today. Let's do Fwip and make him the first one. I'm definitely gonna need a book and quill so I can write something nice. How does one craft a book and quill? I never really use that. I think we need a feather. Probably some ink. Off to the resource world we go. It's nighttime. I'm so scared. Why does it always have to be nighttime? I'm scared of the dark. I mean, I'm not scared. I'm not a coward or scared or a baby. Because I'm all of these things at once. Pro Minecraft. Let's jump into the ocean and just murderize some innocent squids. Hello. You're gonna be sacrificed so I can write nice words to Fwip. I'm so nice, right? And then we also need paper so we can make a book. And then book and quill. I'm a genius. And I basically wrote some really wholesome stuff and then some cursed stuff because I am cursed. He recently reached 10,000 days in his hardcore world, so I wanted to congratulate him on that because that's so cool, what the heck. And I really want to make him some sort of like 10,000 day award with the little resources I have. I'm poor. I think what I'm gonna do is just rename a spyglass to like 10k day award. And I did it in very fancy writing. That's very rare and authentic. I'm just gonna buy a Zone 2 stamp for 300 gold. And then I'm just gonna put that in here with my wholesome mail and the spyglass. So now the post office is gonna do its thing. I'm so happy that we have the post office because I can say nice things to people without having to say it to their face and be super scared about saying it. And if you have an idea who should get my wholesome mail next, let me know in the comments. And look at that, it took me so long to write the letter that all the cactuses melted. And now the resource grind can begin. So let's go off to the resource world. Ooh, I fell. I brought all 3 of my pickaxes, so all we have to do is just find a mesa and then we can mine all of the terracotta. And you know, the most annoying thing is not bringing a boat and then having to swim through the rivers. But I actually brought something better. I brought Frostwalker boots, so we can just walk over this. I love them so much. And using the Frostwalker doesn't use up durability either, so we can just use them forever and leave an icy snowy trail behind. And it took me a little bit longer to find the mesa, not because I was slow, but because I kept getting distracted by random coal ore. I need coal to smelt cactus, okay? But even though I kept getting distracted, walking on water made me reach my destination faster. I also need to be careful to not run out of food, so I'm just gonna like murder every single farm animal I come across. Oh no, my sword slipped! Oh no, it slipped again! How does this keep happening? Don't tell Molly. I found a desert, which is a very good sign because mesas are usually next to a desert. And while we're here, we might as well pick up all of the cactus because my cactus farm is really bad. There is something orange floating in, and I don't think it's lava. It's the mesa. Look at me, I'm bringing ice to the desert. Let it go, let it go. I hate mining terracotta. Also, what kind of mesa is this? It's just orange sand and then more desert. Minecraft just scammed me. Wait, I take it back. There are mountains here which have terracotta. And all of these mountains are hopefully gonna be enough. Now please nothing kill me while I dig into this mountain and take all of the regular terracotta. And I'm so glad that I brought my 2 shulker boxes because my inventory is already full from just mining coal and killing lots of innocent animals. Awkward. I found a cave and it's just yellow. Pea cave. And I've been mining for almost an hour and I got my inventory full, I got my shulker boxes full, and I've made a horrible mess. Look what I've done, I've basically just sliced through the mountain and left the rest floating. I mean, it's just the resource world. It gets reset every single day, so by tomorrow, nobody can see this horrible thing I created. I hope nobody logs on until then. And I still have a little bit of inventory space, so I'm just gonna grab even more cactus. Because 2 shulker boxes full of terracotta definitely need more cactus. And just 1 more cactus, and now we have 3 stags. Now everything is completely full, so all we can do is just go back home, rage at the cactus farm that has only produced 15 cactus in the last 2 days. And then we can smelt all of our cactus. And I also really need to repair both of my pickaxes. I mean, this one does have mending, but there isn't really a good mending source. I mean, I could run dungeons and kill the monsters, but that takes ages to repair my tools. But a little bird told me that you can get easy XP from feeding rats, which is kind of weird. But now I have to try. And the only place you can find rats is the sewers. I haven't been here in months, but it's still super stinky. Let's visit the rats. I brought some rotten flesh just to test it. Ooh, I got an advancement. And it really does give XP. Yes, repair my pickaxe, repair my pickaxe. Now my pickaxe is a little bit more mended, so we can get out of here. Ow. And it looks like I got mail again. The Misinformer. Wait, you can actually read it! Molly's Wrath. I'm scared. This is actually so well made. I love this so much. I think I want to put this up in my base somewhere. Let's make an item frame and let's display it on the wall next to the ladder. Yay! And I can actually read it! We've got all of this green dye, so let's start crafting. We're gonna get so much green terracotta, but I have a feeling this might not even be enough. Filling the entire garden is gonna cost me a lot of terracotta. We gotta take small steps though. I filled both of these shulker boxes and I left some extra, and we still have tons in the chest. I think to start off the big garden grind, let's just build the other tulips. And for the orange tulips, we're gonna need red sandstone, but I only have the sand, so we gotta smelt it first. Wait, no, that turns it into glass. Nope. We gotta make red sandstone blocks. Wait, do we actually have to smelt it? We can make smooth sandstone, which could look good, so let's do that. I don't think I have enough red sandstone, and I also realized I don't have any mangrove. We're gonna need the red wood to make the red tulips, back to the resource world we go. Yay. Unless Pixel Riffs has saplings or propagules, whatever they're called, and he's willing to share. So happy, I'm so happy, I'm so happy, I'm so happy. I'm not dancing around my mailbox like an idiot.
I have some mangrove propagules. I brought 4 of them for you.
Yes! Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm so happy I don't have to find a mangrove swamp. We have mangrove. I'm so happy. I need to remember to mail him something nice. I need to write myself a sign or I'm gonna forget. Send Pixel Riffs nice mail. I hope nobody finds this or that's gonna be so embarrassing that I have to write that down because I would forget. And now we just plant the mangrove in the middle of the community area. And bone meal. I think mangrove is by far the most annoying tree to chop, but I can do it because I have a dream of giant tulips. I'm going to make that dream come alive. What the heck? Hello? Who is farting? Oh.
Hey!
I knew it was you. You logged on and then I heard
wasn't a fart.
farting noises. It was a fart.
It wasn't a fart.
I have a stack of logs. I think this is gonna be enough. But of course this took way longer than it should because I've just been playing the what if the leaves fall game. I fell. It's so fun, okay, to jump on there and not know which leaf is gonna fall. Let's craft up all the mangrove logs into planks and stairs. And I think now we actually have all the resources. So let's get back to our garden. And I forgot I actually need coarse dirt, so hopefully I have some here. At least a little bit. I added some layers of coarse dirt on this side, so I think I'm gonna do the same over here because it worked really well. And this time I'm gonna make the platform bigger. I only built this much and I'm already out of coarse dirt. To the resource world we go, and hopefully we can find some gravel because I have tons of dirt in my chest. I'm not going down there. I think the safest place to look is in the ocean because there's always gravel in rivers, like right over there. And I actually have respiration aqua affinities, so I can just mine this fast underwater too. Wait a moment, the entire ocean floor is gravel. This is the best thing ever. Look at me, I can just do this. And we also gotta swim to the surface or we drown. And back down we go to get the gravel. I think this is enough gravel, right? And let's combine this with our dirt and coarse dirt. Now we can definitely fill in this entire layer, and if we run out of gravel again, we can just go back to the resource world and destroy the ocean. Teehee. 2 weeks later, because I've been on vacation, I filled in this entire layer, and I also added some coarse dirt patches on the ground here and some podzol, and I obviously forgot some. And I just need to grab all of my resources, which are still waiting for me here, and then we can start building up those giant tulips. That's what I was doing, right? It's kind of weird when you're away for like 2 weeks and you forget how to play Minecraft or what you did before you left. I still don't really know, to be honest. But hey, we're expanding the garden, adding the second tulip field, and this time it's going to be red and orange. And now we have another giant tulip field, and this one is a little bit more messy and flowers all over the place. And I also left some empty spots in here because I want to build something there. Good that I wrote it down because otherwise I would forget. Why does it say watering van? I want to build a watering can, not a van. Pass me can't spell. I had the idea to add some oversized garden tools in here to really give the effect that you're a tiny little thing in a giant garden. And for the watering can we need some gray blocks, so maybe we could use stone, but I don't want to use the same blocks like for this wall because that's a stony material. And a watering can could be like metallic or plastic. And I'm thinking let's use some concrete. So let's go get ourselves some more gravel because I only have one singular piece left. To the resource world. I'm in the ground. And it's nighttime. But hey, at least we spawned by the ocean so we can get straight to work and take all of this. And I also just found some sand patches down here, which is the second thing we need to make concrete. And I also need to get light gray dye, and one ingredient for that is black dye. So we have the squids right here. Get back here. Get back here! Got them. That one was an accident. And I would just make white dye and black dye, and then we can make light gray dye. And now we have the concrete powder, and we're just gonna spill water over it. Isn't it such a funny game mechanic that you have to put concrete powder in water and then mine it and then it becomes concrete? I'm also making a huge mess right now. Oh my gosh. It's literally flying everywhere. I got almost 4 stacks of concrete, so now we can start building this watering can. And I think I'm just gonna make like a round kind of shape. This is gonna be the size of it. And I think what I'm gonna do is add a ring of stone on top, because some watering cans have these like rings. I don't know if you know what I mean. Most of the time I don't know what I mean. But I'm gonna add some stone here and it's gonna look good, hopefully. It's such a random thing to do and I'm loving every step of it. And let's just add another stone ring. And now we just fill in the top, but I'm gonna leave a circle for where the water goes in. And now we need to add details like a big handle going all across here. And then we just connect it to the bottom here. That looks so weird, but actually it kind of works. We just need to add the front thing when the water comes out. And I have no idea what that's called. Okay, so far I've got this thing, but I think I need something else to indicate that there's like water coming out. I think I'm gonna add like a bigger stony thing around this. Yeah, now this says watering can, right? It's hard to get a good look at it because there's so many tulips around this. Let's scaffold up. Okay, yeah, this looks nice. Let's not talk about the proportions and size differences and that kind of stuff. It's a magical garden, I don't care. Added some stone and cobblestone to make it look a little bit more worn down, like it's been here for a while. And maybe we could add like a big hole in it, like it broke. I think a block that would look good as a worn down texture is tough. Don't mind me going all the way back to my storage room for 3 blocks of tough. Let's grab some tough, appreciate my wall of heads, and quickly rage at the cactus farm and how little it has produced in like 3 weeks. Oh yeah, I think this is gonna look really, really nice. And now we just need to add something inside, like maybe some plants, like this is overgrown. So we can have some vines growing upwards. Like they're trying to reach the little bit of sunlight that can come through this hole. Actually, I think it would be fun if one of them actually did grow out of the hole. You can hardly see it from the ground, but when you walk inside, it's full of plants. I also had another silly idea, and for that we're gonna need blue and light blue stained glass. And then we can put this in this front part of the watering can and make it look like there's still a little bit of water left that's dripping. And all the water dripping formed this little puddle. I literally have to go to the resource world to fill a second bucket so I can make all of this a water source. But hey, now we have an infinite water source, which is perfect for what's to come, because I want to add another gardening kind of thing in here. A big water pump. And I think this sign says it's supposed to go in this corner, and then we could have water flowing all the way through here. And because we're tiny, this water stream is going to be as big as a giant river. I crafted some dark gray concrete parts, so now we just have to make a mess in the river again. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad at this. Why can't it just stay in one spot? Okay, now it's doing it. Nope. Pro Minecraft. And I also want to get another gray block, you know, for texturing. So we can dye all of these sheep here. There's Molly's sheep. That's creepy. That one is cursed. It's literally cursed. It will hunt you and kill you. So let's dye all of these other sheep gray. No more blood sheep in here. No, thank you. No. It's too scary. Everything is cursed. And then we can just shear them and definitely not kill them for food. Don't tell her I'm thinking about it, because I'm not thinking about it. And I think next to wool, we could also add some deep slate and craft different versions of that. And I kind of want to make this inside of the wall, like it's part of it. So we can have it be 3 blocks wide, and I'm just gonna like punch a little door for myself here, just so I can easily access the outside. And then this is where the rest of the water pump goes. So basically the majority is on the outside. And I want to do these little rings again, like I did for the watering can. And then it's just concrete blocks all the way to the top. I really wanted to add some water elements to this garden without having to make a decorated pond, because that's like a small thing that doesn't fit into a big garden. So the water pump is the perfect solution. Okay, now I really feel tiny looking up at this giant water pump. And one thing we definitely need is to have actual water flowing down. And this little water stream is gonna create a giant river that's gonna go all the way across from here. So now we're just gonna dig out a big trench, like a really, really big one. And this trench is actually gonna go right in between my tulip fields. First thing we gotta do is make a nice curved shape all over the garden. Then of course we realize my shovel is almost broken. And since this is like a weird SMP that doesn't have an XP farm, I have to do things a bit differently to repair my tools. I'm gonna go murder all of Molly's sheep. Don't tell her, it's fine. I already have the sheep mount, so I don't need any good reputation with her. Like, I don't care. So I'm gonna kill all of her sheep. Then I'm gonna bring all of that food down to the sewer dungeon, where I'm gonna feed it to the creepy crawly rats, because they give tons of XP when you feed them. And then we just take our mended tools and go back to digging the river, because one layer is definitely not enough. And now we have this giant trench, which is of course way too big to have water everywhere. But I made it this big because I want to have a little shore next to it. So we're gonna fill it in with lots of coarse dirt. Okay, now that it has 2 layers, it's looking much better. And then we can open this up too and have it all spill out. And then we can add more water to this. It's so funny, I keep referring to this as like my river, but it's not a river. It's a tiny little water stream. And I'm just small, so it looks big. I just fell in my own river. This is fine. But look, we have water everywhere, going from the water pump and then flowing all the way to the end of the wall. And I just left a little hole here. I'm not really sure how to do this yet, but maybe later we have some underground parts that this could flow into. But I haven't really planned that yet, so no spoilers. First we gotta finish the garden above ground. And one thing we really gotta work on is ways to cross this river. Because for us tiny people, it's a river. So maybe we gotta add some fallen branches so we can easily walk across. And I have so much spruce wood just lying in this mess of a chest that I don't even have to go back to my base to grow some trees. I really should clean those chests, but also nah, let's not do it. I crafted a bunch of spruce materials because we could have a little bridge going across here. So like a normal sized bridge in the giant garden. Maybe somebody built it here. Ooh, lore. Somebody lives in this garden. And look at this little bridge. It's so adorable. And I think I want to have another bridge right over here. But this time I want it to be big. Big as in the branch of a tree that fell into the water stream and has been here ever since, slowly rotting away. And of course we need all of this to be stripped spruce wood. And then we could also mix in some oak for a nice texture. Right now this is a huge mess, but I want it to be like a little bridge that has a tree going around it. So this entire thing is just like a hollowed out little twig. I kind of ran out of spruce wood, but what I have so far is this little fragile bridge going across here and the beginning of the giant tree branch. So it took some time to chop down a bunch of trees so I wouldn't run out of spruce wood again. And then I finished building my giant tree branch bridge tunnel thing. I really need to come up with better names for these. I've just been constantly running back and forth through this tunnel because it's so cool. Look at this giant fallen tree kind of thing. And now we just have to decorate it and make going through this even more magical. I actually have this really cool idea for something because we have this rooted dirt. And if we bone meal it, it grows a root. And then we can shear it. And then we have hanging roots. I don't think I've ever used them. And they've been in the game for like 5 years. Awkward. I never really had a reason to use these, but now the time has finally come. I added some spruce fences as like fake roots to make the tree look like it's slowly decomposing in the water. But we can actually add real roots to this. And I also brought my moss so it could grow over this tree a little bit. Not that it's a tree. It's a tiny small little twig and I'm a tiny little creature. I'm also hiding under your bed. So now the inside is super lush and overgrown and a little bit gloomy when you go through here. I would imagine there would be like a little rotten wood kind of stench in here. Stinky bridge. And then out here we got a little bit of moss growing over it. And I just had another idea because I did that in my single player when I built a nether portal in a fallen tree. I built these little mushroom kind of things growing on it. Look at them. They're so cute. And now this is really saying rotten tree thing, which is going to be an easy passage towards the thing that's going to go in here. And I think I want to work on that next. Good that I wrote signs, because this is the dungeon entrance big flower pits pots. Hey, at least I corrected my spelling mistakes. I did have a plan to somehow make this a dungeon, and I still don't really know if it's possible or not. But if it is possible, I want the entrance to be right here. And for that, we're gonna build giant flower pots. More big garden tools incoming. Good that I brought just the plain terracotta, because that's exactly what we're gonna need now. And building these shouldn't be too difficult, since I'm just gonna take inspiration from like the normal Minecraft pots and just make them more round and organic, and of course way bigger. But I also want to make them a little bit more broken down and shattered, because this is an abandoned garden, so all the gardening tools have to be rusty and old and broken, because it's been a very long time since anybody of that giant size was in this garden. And I also brought some granite, because if we want this to be a worn down thing, we need a cracked texture, and that looks kind of like the pot cracked. And this is what I got so far, a nice big flower pot, which is broken in the front, so there are some bits, and then you can walk inside. That's where I want the potential dungeon entrance to be. But I also want stuff growing out of the flower pots, because having flower pots means I can build more big flowers. We have all the wild tulips, so now we can build other big plants. But before I start getting obsessed with building giant flowers again, we gotta finish this flower pot, and let's cover it all in dirt, so later we can plant something inside. And then on the inside, we're gonna have tons of dirt that's still sticking to the pot, because it's being held by the roots of whatever is growing inside the flower pot. Otherwise it would have spilled out, but the roots are holding it in place. Okay, this is awkward. They're just like stone blocks bouncing. Hello? Anyway, this is my nice flower pot. What is it doing? I'm just gonna ignore this. We gotta build even more flower pots like these. But first I had to go to the resource world and look for a lush cave, because there's rooted dirt there and I'm basically out. Oh my gosh! Hello? Why did I have to spawn in the pale garden at night? And there are creakings. Now they're gone. Hello? I'm sleeping. This is scary. Oh, there are monsters nearby. Thanks. Great. Why does this always happen to me? Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, lush tree. Ugh. Wait, I have an idea. Let's look on the map. Aha! Lush tree. Maybe. Lush cave. Lush cave. I love having this map. There's a skelly behind me. Let's run away. Well. The map was right. There is a lush tree here. And I don't actually need to go to the cave. I just need to go and dig under this tree and just dig out all of the rooted dirt. Yay! Best day ever, best day ever, best day ever. And the best thing is I don't have to dig back up because I can just like teleport out of here. And I just came across a granite vein, which is perfect because that's the other thing I needed from this world. I'm never gonna need granite or rooted dirt ever again because I have so much of it now. So I got to work and started building 3 more flower pots, and I wanted to make every single one completely different than the other. So I built them in different sizes and in different stages of broken down. So one was fine and the other was completely shattered. I also went on another gravel mining spree in the ocean so I could fill all of the area around the flower pots with coarse dirt patches, just to make this all look a little bit more detailed. And on top of that, we can spam tons of grass and even use bone meal to make it tall grass. And now look how beautiful and overgrown our little flower pot area is. We have a completely smashed pot with little pebbles. Then this one here isn't broken at all, and this one here is kind of cracked in the middle and there's like dirt coming out of it. So now we just gotta add flowers into these 3 pots. How about we build a giant version of a fern? Then we could do a giant yellow flower and a giant blue flower, but I don't want to use this flower. I want to use the light blue swamp flower. I just don't have that on me. I got all the green terracotta ready to go, so all we need is just yellow and blue colors. Also, I just found the flower I want to build just like growing in the wilderness. Yeah, this is the one I want to build. It's gonna look so cool and it's gonna be so fun to make a giant version of that. I just had a big brain realization because this little town is called Orchidea, like an orchid. And then all these blue flowers are growing all around it because they're blue orchids. Oh, so that's where the town name comes from, and I fell in a hole. Oh my gosh. Let's see if I have any yellow terracotta. Perfect. I think I might have to craft some more though. Good that I have a sunflower, which I can just infinitely bone meal, and then we're gonna get tons of yellow dye. I also need some light blue wool for the orchids, so it's sheep shearing time. I'm also gonna craft a bunch of light blue concrete powder. And also, how about some green concrete powder? Because green concrete could be a nice texture next to the green terracotta. I also made myself a little concrete maker so I can just stand here and spam this and it doesn't go everywhere and the water doesn't spill all over the place. And you know what? I'm liking this. I can just stand here and spam blocks. 5 stacks of concrete has been converted, and we also got all the other resources. I even got some moss for the fern. So now let's go ahead and scale up some Minecraft flowers. I think I want to start with the yellow flower because that's the easiest one. I also forgot to bring all my terracotta. BRB. Okay, let's just find the middle of this flower pot and then just go up with the lime green concrete. I think that's terracotta actually. And then we can just make little flower petals out of the yellow terracotta. And then we just add super cute and tiny little leaves to the sides. And now it's done. Look at this cute little flower. This was actually really simple. And I also just fell down from Minecraft. I still have so much terracotta left. I think I just want to build one right next to it. Like some seeds flew off of this flower pot and landed here, and then another flower grew. Oh my gosh, look at them. They're so adorable. They kind of remind me of that YouTuber who makes shorts of like building these flowers out of blocks in real life. Let me know if you watch them too. And now it's time to build the blue orchid. And I don't want this to be a block for block replica of the flower in Minecraft. I just want to have a cute little blue flower. Okay, we got branches growing in every single direction. And then we just gotta attach a couple blue petals to it. Like just a couple, like 2 or 3. And then we just do that on every single branch. Okay, now look at this flower. It's so cute! Our beautiful custom orchid. And because I still had some blocks left over, I couldn't help it. I had to build a second one, also just growing out of the ground. Look at this, we actually have a little flower garden area now. So all that's left to do is build the big fern right here. This is such a random thing, but I've always wanted to build a giant Minecraft fern. I like ferns, okay? It's like a perfect cottagecore plant. And I'm gonna make it out of a mix of green terracotta, green concrete, and moss. Look, I got the first layer done so far, so we have the leaves curving around here. So I just need to repeat that again, but make the leaves smaller this time. And I think now it is complete. Oh my gosh, I need to look at this from far away because I'm so tiny I can't even see anything from up close. I'm just running in a circle panicking. Let's climb on top of the wall and then let's just go on the tree here. Yay! Okay, this is a fern. Okay, one leaf is like longer than the other, but I think that's fine because it's an organic plant. It can't be symmetrical. And you know what? I still have tons of green concrete and green terracotta left. And there's still so much room over in this area. We still have the entrance to do. I think I wrote something down. Overgrown entrance. Entrance. So why don't we just make ferns grow all over this place? Make everything super overgrown so it's no longer an open space, but an overgrown abandoned garden. Let's do it. There are still so many things I need to add to this garden and so many things I need to decorate. But now that I'm covering all the empty spaces in fern, it's actually feeling so complete. And it's making me so excited that I'm so close to finishing this project because I've been working on this for so long and I've really been looking forward to showing you all this finished garden. And now when we stand outside of the garden walls, we can already see all of the greenery and stuff that's growing inside. We're walking underneath the giant fern and it's so magical. But there's still so much we gotta do because the most important thing is decorating the floor. Because these are just the giant plants growing from above. When we walk here, we need to have grass and coarse dirt and stuff everywhere. So I'm just gonna do what I did in all the other places in the garden. I'm just gonna rip out a couple patches in the ground and then fill it in with a bunch of coarse dirt. And we also need a bunch of grass, so I'm gonna bone meal it on this one last empty patch here where I still have a little surface to work on. Because right now my coarse dirt floor is kinda ew, there isn't really anything going on. You don't really feel anything magical when you walk here. We need grass everywhere, we need details. So I'm just gonna spam tons of grass here. I think our little water stream slash giant river could also benefit from a little bit of grass by the shore. Maybe we could also bone meal the water itself so we can get all of that seagrass growing. I mean, it is looking a bit better, and then the riverbed is also looking kinda nice, but we think we need variation between tall grass and the small grass, like I've done in my tulip field over here. So it's bye-bye to all of that hard-earned bone meal. All the hours I've spent slaying in the crypt dungeon, murdering skellies for this. This is fine. I'm totally fine. But I still think this isn't enough for like an overgrown garden, so I brought my moss carpet so we could have a little bit of variation on the floor. And I also brought my stone buttons so we could add little pebbles here and there. Speaking of small pebbles, that reminds me of that last open area that still isn't decorated. And of course there's another sign from past me reminding me what to build there. Maybe a thick rock. Nice. Really nice past me. Really nice. Thanks for making me read that out. Let's delete this real fast because it was just horrible. And let's go and get ourselves some stony materials because past me wasn't wrong. Having some rocks and little stones lying around would really add to this garden. And I think we definitely gotta have some of different sizes all around the garden. It could even be stuff that fell off the wall because the wall is so ruined. So I'm getting some andesite, stone, and cobblestone, and we could even make some mossy cobble. And then I'm just gonna start making some organic round shape in this area. And I think it's getting somewhere. We just have this big rock just like sitting there when you come into the garden from over there. It kind of looks okay, right? Maybe? Actually so complicated to make that look good. Let's just make a small one right here. I made a tiny rock, and this time I put a moss carpet on top of the mossy cobblestone, and it looks like it's connected to it, and I think that's a really cool detail. And I did some more rock building practice, like having this tiny one here by the shore. I think I just broke something. And then some more tiny ones next to the watering can. And I think now I'm ready to put a big thing right here. I wanted to take up the whole area from like over here and then going across here all the way over here. This entire thing is gonna be a rock. All of a sudden I just don't feel prepared at all, but we're still gonna do it. This is actually getting way bigger than I thought, but I think we're getting there. Oh my gosh, this is such a mess. Look what I made. I made a rock. And I actually made it this way because I wanted it to have a purpose, because when you're in this garden, walking around feeling tiny, there isn't really a way to look at the entire garden. So I wanted to make like a little viewing platform so we could climb up this little rock and then go all the way to the top, and then we could like look over the garden. It's still not super high up, but you still get a pretty good overview of all the beautiful flower pots. And then you could even do parkour on top of the ferns, and then you can just jump from fern to fern and onto this. And then you can look at the entire garden from up here too. Now the garden is full of plants, flowers, rocks, and other weird gardening tools and fallen logs and stuff like that. And I think it's looking really cool. We filled up every single spot in this little square. Like, look at this entire garden. There is so much going on. Every single place is kind of covered in stuff. We got the river going all the way through, then there's me partying on the bridge, ignore that. But I think we can still add so much more to this. Because I don't just want to have plants and flowers growing here, I want to have some other things being in here too. Creeping and crawling, you know? This is either going to be super gross or it's going to be kind of cute. I want the garden to be full of little critters, but they're not really gonna be little, they're gonna be bigger than me. Just imagine you're like in a horror film and all the bugs are giant and they're coming after you. I kinda don't want to imagine that. I'm gonna take my spruce signs out again and I'm just gonna go through the garden and select some spots where I want some stuff to be living. Like something could be living here next to this rock. Here could be a giant stag beetle. I just know that name from Animal Crossing. I have so much weird bug and fish knowledge from that game. It's so cursed. Then here could be its stag beetle friend. Then behind the flower pots in this area we could have like something long crawly, like a centipede. I can't spell. Let's build the centipede and the beetles first. You know, get the creepy crawly stuff with many legs out of the way, and then we can do something cute later. And I look at some more real life pictures of those creatures, and I think the closest color I could get is like dark oak wood. And I don't think I own any dark oak saplings, but someone, Sausage, keeps farming wood behind my base. And there's a dark oak tree here, so this is perfect. I can just farm this and replant it, and I don't have to go to the resource world and do any like hard work. I'm so lazy, I just want to build my garden and build giant beetles in it, which is just like a weird thing to do that I'm doing now. I filled my inventory with a bunch of dark oak and some more spruce stuff, so now it's time to build some creatures. Let's first make the body of the creature. So this is gonna be the body. Let's strip it. And then I'm gonna make a whole bunch of stairs, slabs, trapdoors, that kind of stuff. And I'm also gonna make this 3 blocks wide so I can have a centered middle kind of thing. Because in the middle I want to put the mouth. And then we could have the pincers. And then maybe some slabs on top. We could also have some trapdoors here to make it look more like it's a round body of a beetle. Then we need like the antennas or whatever they have. I mean, that kind of looks like a thing, right? We could also have legs like this. They don't really connect to the ground, but it's still like a nice touch to have them here. I don't know though, they don't teach that in Animal Crossing school. And now we got this little creature just sitting here. It looks so weird. It's cursed. It's just gonna stay. I don't care. Let's build the exact same thing in here. Imagine you just see this giant watering can, like, ooh, this is so cool, magical. Then you walk inside and there's just this, what is this even? This thing. And you just like look at it and it's just like with its pincers like, nyeh, 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 nyeh. I'm not scared, but I hope everybody else who comes into this garden is super scared because it's gonna be funny. Now let's go and build the centipede right here. And I want this one to be a little bit funnier, so we're just gonna have dark oak and spruce and dark oak and spruce. So it's like a super colorful kind of snake shaped thing, just so that it's a centipede and it's gonna have so many legs. I tried to make it like curved, like it's still like connected on the ground using some slabs. But this one here is gonna be the head, so it's like raised up a little bit, and that's gonna have the pincers. Yes! Okay, now this is looking cool. Also kind of cute in like a creepy way. I like when things look cute in a creepy way. Let's add a billion legs to this. I tried to not spam fence gates, but still have enough so it's like a lot of legs. With this one you can really tell it's a creature. These ones are more like, what the heck is this? And you just have to like walk around it to realize, oh, this is like a beetle kind of thing. It's really hard to build tiny little bugs on like a bigger scale, but not too big, because otherwise the plants wouldn't be big enough. So this has to be the size for them. But now I want to build something cute, and for that we're gonna need to collect a bunch of different kinds of resources. The first thing I need is some glow lichen for secret stuff. And I have this rock here which has a secret entrance down to the caves under my garden. And this is where I mined all of the stony resources for the garden. And I'm really hoping that there's some lichen. I see some over there. Let's mine this. And there's some more down here. Perfect. I just prefer going caving in here instead of going to the resource world because no monsters can spawn here. So I can just mind my own business and mine the blocks I need without having to look over my shoulder. And then there's a creeper behind me. So the only thing that's creeping and crawling in this cave is me. I didn't find a huge amount of lichen, but I can always do the old bone meal trick and just shear it and get more. And I went back to my storage to pick up a couple more blocks, and I actually don't have the blocks that I wanted to pick up, so I'm just like out here panicking. I wanted to get mud blocks, but I don't have any, so I think we just gotta make them. We just get ourselves some water bottles, and then we can just place some dirt on here and then spam the bottle. Yay, we have mud. Lucky for me, I think I only need 4 mud blocks, and then make mud bricks out of them. And then we can make some brick walls and some slabs. And then we also need candles, and I was panicking that I don't have any, but then I saw them in my house and then realized they must be a dungeon loot, so I must have some somewhere. 10 years later, I found them. And the last thing we need is just a bunch of yellow stained glass and glass panes. I want to build 2 more different types of bugs, and the first one is gonna be a really tiny cute one. And this one is gonna be a little snail. Say you're a green fan without saying you're a green fan. This is like green snail design, and then I'm gonna do some lichen as like the slime behind it. And then also climbing up the tulip. Look at this little snail, and we need more slime too. And then we have another one that just like climbed down the tulip and is moving over here. And now our garden has become a cute little snail garden. And another thing I want to add to the flowers is butterflies. I'm gonna add 3 butterflies to my world. One like holding onto a tulip, resting on it. Then one just flying freely over my garden. And then another one that's landing on my yellow flower. I love just walking through my flower field and then just look up and see a giant butterfly. And then another one sitting here. And then another one over there. I think having all these not so little critters in my garden really added to the magic. I feel like there's always something more I can add to this garden because I just thought of something else because lore. The lore of this place is still very raw, but essentially I want there to be fairies living in this giant garden. So fairies that are like small like me, and they're living in this mega garden. Because essentially this garden hasn't been scaled up, we've been scaled down. So my idea was like, as soon as you walk in, you're like starting to feel tiny because you're suddenly tiny. Like Alice in Wonderland kind of thing, and I also got the idea from the game Grounded, which is like a game where giant bugs and spiders and stuff are just like chasing you and you're in a garden and you're tiny. I never played it because I was too scared, but I saw people stream it and I was scared. Anyway, back to the lore. I want to build a little house here, just like a normal sized house in the giant garden. Well, it's not really gonna be a house, it's more like a worn down shack that somebody's living in, like a little garden fairy. So the walls are made out of trapdoors with a bunch of holes because it's like super old. And then we can add a little slab roof on top. A lot of builds on this SMP have NPCs roaming around, so it would be so cool if it was possible to have an NPC in here, which is like a fairy who could give you like a fairy quest of like picking flowers or something fun. And then of course one guarding the dungeon entrance over there, being super ominous, like don't go there, you will die. Because you will die. I decorated the shack a little bit more and now it's super magical. We just go in here and then there's a little gardener set up, just a couple flowers and glowberries. And it would be so magical if a garden fairy would just be there and just walk around this area and you could talk to them. I still have a whole dungeon to build underneath this garden, but at least the garden itself is finished. We can walk through here and look at all the flowers, all the critters around here, all the little gardening elements. And I think my favorite is still the bridge and the little river, water stream kind of thing. It's just so fun to go through here, and the best part is that it leads directly to the fairy house. So we can go from the fairy house through here and then over to the flower pots, and this is where we would go down to the deep, deep below, where more stuff is gonna lurk. I hate how it got dark while I said that. I'm scared. I'm so happy that I now fully decorated this entire garden, and I hope you like all the different things I added to this place. Please subscribe. This took like 2 months. It was just wild. But I've enjoyed every second of it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time. Bye. There's the centipede under your bed. Okay, bye.